Welcome back to the channel. Today's project is to punch up the interior of this car a little bit. Did it on my last build and I'm deciding to do it pretty much going forward. Let me walk you through it. Okay guys, so on the E46 M3 build series, you guys know that I did a bunch of Alcantara accents inside the car. I really love how that turned out. I personally love Alcantara in a sports car. The softness, the smell, the feel that you get is amazing. The big, I guess, cons against or arguments against Alcantara, number one, it's hard to keep clean. I don't disagree, but I keep my sports cars super clean. I have a daily driver. That's what we're using for the kids, groceries, errands, sports, things like that. So this car, the M3, those kind of cars, the interiors stay pretty much immaculate. When I wash the car, I'd say once every 3 or 4 washes, I actually have to do something invasive in the interior. Usually it's just a quick vacuum. So number one, I keep my cars clean, so that's not really an issue. Number two, people complain about the wear on Alcantara and that it like gets marred and kind of matted down and stuff more easily. I've not experienced that. Now to be fair, I don't own these cars for like 10 years typically. That said, there are some good procedures for cleaning and refreshing and even sanding and fluffing the Alcantara to make it look new. So I won't go into all that on this one. Most of the pieces here are new, but nonetheless, I love Alcantara. And so the car came with some. I'll talk you through what it came with and then what we're gonna add. All right, so this car came with a really nice amount of Alcantara, to be honest. So the previous owner did a number of things, but starting up here, they did a GT3 steering wheel. That is in Alcantara, and it's fairly new, and it's also got speed yellow deviated stitching and a speed yellow stripe, which is awesome. So that matches the RS door handles and the PCCBs. And then they also put in this GT3 shifter. It's got a shift knob that's in full Alcantara that's pretty new with the silver accent. And then it's got a boot as well. That is in the speed yellow deviated stitching. And then the e-brake is also Alcantara, speed yellow deviated, and the cover for this center console. So a lot of great stuff, and really that's a lot of the driving experience. You know, when I'm driving this car, I'm touching the wheel, I'm touching the shifter, I'm touching the e-brake, so that's really nice. But I just want to carry it a little further forward just from a visual standpoint. So the pieces we're going to add are underneath on both sides of the steering wheel, and then this glove box cover here, and then this little cover on the side. I found a gentleman online through the Facebook forums, and he actually recovers all this stuff. And then you send him your core, and there's a big, nice core exchange refund, and you're all good to go. So that'll basically complete the look with the Alcantara running underneath the dash. You've probably seen this in a lot of 997s, especially the GT cars. So I'm going to walk you through how to do that, basically how to remove these pieces. I won't walk through how to put them on because it's essentially the reverse. So we'll take them off. I'll show you step by step, and then I'll show you the end product and let you know what I think. One quick note is that the pieces I got do match this perfectly. I already checked this out, but this is factory Alcantara, and the guy I used, Chavis, they use factory Alcantara directly from a supplier. So let's go ahead and jump into how to pull all this stuff off. All right, so here's a look at our pieces. So this piece goes over the glove box. This is the little piece to the right of that. And then of course, this goes underneath the dash area where the steering wheel is. You've got your ignition, your light switch, and all that. Pieces look really great. Like I said, they match the factory Alcantara perfectly. So we're gonna disassemble what's in the car at the moment. And I got some instructions from Porsche actually on how to do this. So I did some searching around, and I guess the technician's manual that a tech would use was available. Somebody posted a link to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through those steps, but I'll flash it up just so you guys can see what I'm talking about and to get you a link and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and start with the glove box. I think that's gonna be easiest, and the little side piece on this side. Then we'll swap over to the other side of the car, get the part in the steering wheel, which is probably a little trickier. All right, so the glove box should be pretty straightforward, but basically what you're looking for is this right here. So these are T10 screws. They're kind of hard to see. I'll put a light on here. So there's one right there where my light is shining, if you can see that. But they are basically all the way back. You see there's another one back there. So my sense is that that is the only thing that holds this on, this front cover. And then once you get the front cover off, you'll have access to the handle and have the ability to take this out and swap it over. So we're gonna go and get all the screws out and just see if there's anything else that holds this front cover on. All right, so we were able to get to a number of these screws, the ones that are easily accessible here, but there are some buried in the back that are gonna be almost impossible to get to, I think, without taking out the glove box. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. As you can see, I did get a good amount of those on. I actually like that those are felt covered tips. That's a really nice touch. That way they blend in. Anyway, so we took this panel off, okay, right here. This is simple. This just pulls straight out. So this will be an easy replacement, but it does give us access to this side. You also need to pull this panel off, okay? This one's pretty easy. There's a bolt here buried under the carpet. It's right underneath the socket. And then once you pull this off, there's another bolt behind that. So this carpet piece will come off. And then there's another bolt back there. And then this piece just pulls straight out. So it's got clips, pressure clips that are in here on the side. And so you just pull this straight out. Obviously, I've already taken this panel out for the Redline phone mount, so I know exactly what to do there. So we're gonna get this out, get ourselves access. That way we can go in and get the whole glove box out. I think it's gonna make changing the front of this much easier. You also are gonna need to remove the cup holder assembly. So there are two little bolts that are up inside here on either side. They're behind the little split panels. And so you take those out and just slide this out, but you're gonna need to access that because, and you're also gonna need to pull off this side trim piece because there's a T20 here, T20 here, there's a T20 there, and then there's two T20s on this side, and then there's two T20s in the back behind the cup holder, and that'll let the entire glove box assembly out. All right, so glove box out, and we'll go ahead and take it out in the garage, get the rest of this cover off and swap it out. Okay, so we got the cover off. Quick tip on this last bolt, this last screw, way in the back. It is pretty much impossible to get off because you don't have enough clearance to get to it between the top of this and the screw. So what you need to do is you need to actually take off the little catch here, the shock or whatever you want to call that. And the way you do that is to take off all the bolts all the way around. That will allow you to pull the cover back quite a bit. And I just took a little needle nose pliers and I went in and just hit these tabs on the side of this to release this piece, and it just gives you a little extra flex so that you can get all the way back here to get this. So anyway, quick tip on that. We're gonna go and get the new piece on and then we'll get it back in the car. Okay, so passenger side is done. A little trickier than anticipated, but man, does that look good. That is just taking it up a whole different level with the steering wheel and that. Just super, super nice. And the quality on this Alcantara is really good. As you guys can see, you know, it matches the factory Alcantara perfectly. So looks like it's all factory, that it came that way. And I just am in love with that look. So go ahead and hop over to the other side. Okay, time to work on the driver's side. So first thing you're gonna wanna do is take care of this switch. So we're gonna take this out by turning this to the off position, okay, all the way on the left. We're gonna push this in, it's sort of spring loaded, and then turn it to the right, and then the whole assembly comes out. So we'll get this piece out and then we'll move on to the ignition. All right, so for this ignition trim, you're just gonna use a plastic trim puller, get under the edge here, you know, really carefully, and pry this off. All right, next item is you're gonna take off this trim panel on the end of the dashboard on the driver's side. So again, just use a trim puller, take this one off carefully. Keep in mind that it is tucked behind this door trim, so you've gotta kind of finesse it out from that area. All right, so we're gonna take off this side panel here, the center console where the radio is, same exact technique as the other side. You've got a screw here in the carpet, and then once you take that off, you got two more screws behind it, and then this whole thing basically slides out because it's got a bunch of pressure clips here on the front. All right, so at this point, you should have access to all the torque screws. So there's some in here. There are some buried in here inside the light control. There are some on the sides, so there's one down here. And then of course there are a couple underneath, which you can see probably all the way back here. So we're gonna go ahead and get all those out, and then this should be free. Not sure if we need to remove this little trim piece underneath the gauge cluster. We're gonna find out. The instructions I have say yes, but it seems like you should be able to get this out without doing that. So let's give it a shot. All right, so there's a lot of torque screws, just FYI. But the ignition has just got this little ring, okay? And you just take a flathead screwdriver, put it inside one of those notches, just start moving it left and then twist it off. So that'll release the ignition. And we've got just one more spot, I think. We've got a torque screw, we're gonna find it. Then we'll be able to pull this piece out and put the new piece in. Okay, so once you've got this piece down, you've got several things you need to obviously disconnect. Lots of wires, but you wanna get this harness free. There are a number of locations here where it's attached with zip tied posts, and the OBD2 sensor also has 3 little tabs that will allow you to pull this out of that. So once you get everything out, we're gonna go ahead and swap, put everything in reverse, and I'll show you guys the final product. Okay, so look at the final product here. Really like how this turned out. I think it just really ties in the steering wheel and the rest of the Alcantara in the center console. Super nice. So big shout out to the group I got this from. They did a really nice job in recovering these, and it's one of those things where I probably could have recovered it myself, but the time and effort that takes, I know this because I did it on the E46. Just something I want to save on this project. So hope you guys enjoyed this how-to on Alcantara bits here for the 997. If you don't already subscribe, go ahead and click the link to do so. Lots and lots of really cool content coming for this build series. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will catch you on the next one.